Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Travel with Rick Steves Europe. Whether this is your first time joining us or you're one of our beloved regulars, we're glad to have you with us tonight. My name is Gabe Gunning, and I have the pleasure of serving as your host this evening as we journey to eclectic, energetic Istanbul to sample a variety platter of Turkish delights that are sure to thrill every sense. We also have a very special guide here in person with us tonight. Now, without further ado, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome back to Monday Night Travel. I think she has earned her five-timers jacket by this point. It is our foremost Turkey guide, Lale Surmen Aran. Lale, welcome back to Monday Night Travel.
Thank you, Gabe. Merhaba.
Merhaba. Lovely to have you with us.
Pleasure to be with you here.
How do you, is merhaba, can you say that at all times of day? Is there more of a good evening?
It's all times of the day.
Times.
It's hello, and you can use it all times of the day.
Well, merhaba to you. We're so glad to have you back, and I'm so glad to have you sitting here next to me. The last time you were here, you had a beautiful backdrop of the Bosphorus, and now you're right next to the Puget Sound. Why are you in town?
Oh, I am here for the annual Rick Steves meetings.
For the Rick Steves meet, and
Yes.
For our viewers that don't know, what do you do at the Rick Steves Guide Workshop?
It's almost 150 of us guides from Europe. We're here, we're getting together to share ideas, to learn what's coming up in the next travel season. We evaluate our performances of the previous seasons, and we party. We party a lot.
We're going bowling tomorrow night. Are you going to be there?
Yes, we
Bowling?
will be.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll be better than I am, Lale.
Well, I'm not bold. See?
All right. Well, tonight we are going to be traveling to Istanbul, and we are going to actually be doing a watch along for a new TV show that is included in our season 13. So just this past fall, we released season 13 of Rick's TV show, Rick Steves Europe. So you should check out all of those episodes. There is a link to them in the chat widget. Also, we are going to be doing sort of a director's cut, chiming in, providing commentary. I'm going to be asking Lale more questions for historical and cultural context. So we will be chiming in. Should you want to watch this same Turkish Delights episode without interruptions, there is also a link for that in the chat. But otherwise, are you ready to get going?
Yes, I am.
How do you say, like, let's go in
Hadi gidelim.
Hadi gidelim. All right, so off we go to Istanbul.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves, back with more of the best of Europe. This time, we're in perhaps the most historic and certainly the most populous city we've ever filmed in, Istanbul. Thanks for joining us. Istanbul is one of the great cities on earth, period. For thousands of years, this place, where East meets West, has been a crossroads of civilizations. Few places on earth have witnessed more history than this sprawling metropolis on the Bosphorus. Enjoying the delights of Istanbul, we'll marvel at mosques, peruse the Grand Bazaar, be wowed by classic carpets, admire artisans at work, and learn why the dervish whirls. We'll sail the Bosphorus, eat fresh fish off the boat, be tempted by honey-drenched baklava, buy some exquisite silk, and grab some ice cream. Or not. We'll take a side trip to Asia and lose ourselves in a sea of its people as we celebrate this vast and complex city. Turkey bridges Europe and Asia. Its largest city, Istanbul, straddles the Bosphorus Strait, part of the cities in Europe and part in Asia. The Golden Horn Inlet, long a strategic harbor, is crossed by the Galata Bridge. It connects the bustling New Town and the Old Town with its fabled palace and mosques. After a cruise on the Bosphorus, we'll explore the Grand Bazaar, wander down the Istiklal Caddesi Boulevard, then finish in Asia with a visit to Üsküdar.
So, Lale, I know that for Rick, Istanbul is one of the great cities of Europe, and he recommends that travelers spend, a week here at least. For people that are coming to Istanbul, maybe they are going to spend a longer amount of time, 5, 6, 7 days, and they're looking for a good place on this map to kind of stay and set up their home base. What would you recommend?
If people are staying a few days, like 3, 4, 5 or more, I recommend them not to stay in the old town. Yes, I recommend them to stay somewhere with an easy access to the tram line known as T1, because it's the line that connects the most highlights of the city with the new town, which also gives easy access to the ferry docks to cross the Bosphorus. So this way, people can experience the city, not only see the monuments.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So would you recommend then being kind of in the new town somewhere?
Yes, north of
Okay.
the Golden Horn. South of the Golden Horn is okay, but there's more real city, real life action north of it.
Wonderful. And I remember that tram going right by all of the major sites.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that is a great sightseeing and a lodging strategy.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Inspiring monuments showcase 2,000 years of Istanbul history, its ancient Roman and early Christian Byzantine period, its centuries as the capital of the Muslim Ottoman Empire, and its birth as a modern nation in the 20th century. While today the city is a vast megapolis of over 15 million people sprawling along both sides of the Bosphorus, its oldest citizens actually remember when it had only 1 million people. In other words, the vast majority of the city is new. And its historic points of interest are mostly corralled into a relatively compact old center. The starting point for many travelers is Istanbul's state-of-the-art cruise terminal with its ingenious collapsible walls. It adds to the city's population whenever ships are in port. A far-sighted infrastructure investment, all the buses and taxis are underground to efficiently move the crowds. In season, massive cruise ships pour thousands of tourists smoothly into the city for a busy day of sightseeing and shopping. When ships sail, the security and customs walls fold down, and Galata Port transforms into a delightful public promenade, 600 yards long. Late in the day, the people watching mixes with the commotion of the busy harbor to make it a Turkish paseo like none other.
Lale, I know that for a lot of places in Europe, there can be a tension between the cruise ships and the cruising industry and the local population because of how many people are coming into the city. Is there that tension in Istanbul?
No, not really. But you need to realize that Istanbul is so big and so crowded. People coming to Istanbul on cruise ships is not even a drop in the ocean.
That is a good point. And I was really struck that this is absolutely true. I was at the cruise port when I visited Istanbul, and it did seem like it was the place for the locals to be out and about.
Yes.
Why is that? I would not think of be in Seattle, like, let me go to the cruise port.
Yes, but you need to think of its location. It's on the Bosphorus, and it's the only place, only paseo in the world that you can watch another continent. And the outstanding monuments of two amazing empires, Ottoman Empire and the Byzantine Empire, they're in your view along with another continent.
It's amazing. You can, admire two continents and then also just have dinner at one of their many restaurants that they have there.
Get a snack and enjoy one of the benches. It does not have to be a fine dining.
Yeah, so I would agree. Like one of my biggest takeaways was that going to the cruise port was one of the best places to be among the locals.
Yes. Hmm.
The Bosphorus is churning with boat traffic of all sorts. This narrow and strategic strait is a bottleneck, busy with freighters, including lots of Ukrainian and Russian ships, since this is the only route between ports on the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. And tourist boats doing their maritime do-si-do dance around the serious cargo ships and ferries. For more of a mini cruise, it's easy to hop a sightseeing boat for a relaxing sail up the Bosphorus. Yes, an intercontinental cruise. It's a chance to see Istanbul from the water and get the lay of the land, with Europe on one side and Asia on the other. Small historic towns marked by their minarets are now engulfed in the sprawl of modern Istanbul. The boat passes an Ottoman emperor's hunting lodge, palaces of the nobility, and homes of wealthy locals who can afford the Bosphorus waterfront, some of the priciest real estate in all of Turkey. And anyone can enjoy the inviting beachfront parks. The dramatic Bosphorus Bridge was the first bridge ever to span 2 continents. And the Rumeli Fortress was built by the Ottomans 5 centuries ago.
Lale, Rick talks about how, Istanbul today encompasses what used to be all these now neighborhoods, but they used to be their own towns. Do a lot of those towns still retain kind of their own character from when they were a separate town?
Some of them do, some of don't.
What are some of your favorites?
I like to be away from the cliche, and I like on the Asian coastline, I like Kadıköy and Üsküdar. These are 2 districts side by side, totally different in character, but both are part of the city.
And I knew that Lale was going to be mentioning Kadıköy and Üsküdar. So in the chat widget, you will find the names for those 2. But it was striking to me how different those 2 neighborhoods are sitting right next to each other.
Back in the old center, the Galata Bridge spans the strategic inlet called the Golden Horn. For centuries, this easy-to-defend bay provided the city a protected harbor. 1,000 years ago, long before there was a bridge here, a mighty chain was stretched across the mouth of this inlet. This gave the Byzantine Empire its safest harbor, which provided the city a critical key to both trade and military power. While just a few years ago its shoreline was an industrial wasteland, today the Golden Horn is cleaned up and lined by inviting parks. After a determined effort by the city and lots of investment, the people of Istanbul now share a delightfully green and welcoming people zone, the Golden Horn. Back at the Galata Bridge, for fast food Istanbul style, you can grab a fish wedge just off the boat. Mackerel, fresh from the guys who caught it at one of the venerable and very tipsy fish and bread boats. And as the sun sets, on the bridge you can enjoy panoramic views of Istanbul's old town, an iconic place for more fast fish, or a nice dinner with a view of the harbor action. There are lots of tourists in Istanbul, and it's interesting to note that about half of them come from other Muslim countries.
Lale, I think it was interesting to me that it felt like the tourist population in Istanbul was different from other parts of Europe that I traveled in. Do you notice, what are your thoughts on kind of the diversity of the tourists that come to Istanbul? And do you see differences between a lot of the Western tourists and maybe the ones that are coming from the East or more majority Muslim countries?
Well, all visitors behave the same, but with different interests. They are all after the ideal Istanbul, ideal Turkey. For Westerners, they are more interested in the historical and cultural heritage that Istanbul offers. That's the heritage of the two empires, Byzantine and the Ottoman Empire. But for travelers that are coming from East, Istanbul and Turkey has a different meaning.
Hmm.
And for them, Turkey is the symbol of freedom, democracy, independence. And they watch Turkish soap operas. They see a life in those soap operas that they don't have in their countries. So that's what they are coming for.
So does Turkey produce a lot of soap operas?
A lot of soap operas. I think after Hollywood, Turkey is the number two biggest maker of those soap operas.
Is there like a Hollywood of Turkey?
Yes, there is. It's called Yeşilçam.
Yeşilçam.
Yes,
Do you watch any of the soap operas?
I work a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe someday if I don't know if you'll ever retire, Lale.
I don't like to retire. I love my job. It would be a punishment for me to tell me not to travel would be a punishment.
Very good answer.
While Istanbul is full of iconic sights, there's one that seems to be on every traveler's list, the Grand Bazaar. In many ways, Istanbul's Grand Bazaar remains much as it was centuries ago, enchanting and perplexing visitors with its maze-like network of lanes hiding more than 4,000 colorful shops, artisans at work, and tiny eateries. Despite all the tourists and knickknacks, the heart of the Grand Bazaar still beats, giving the observant visitor an unforgettable memory. In its day, this labyrinthine warren of shops under fine arches was the World Trade Center for the entire Ottoman Empire, locked down and guarded by more than 100 soldiers every night. While today's main drag is touristy, do what you can to imagine the atmosphere here centuries ago during Silk Road times. The barrage on the senses. Exotic spices, busy merchants, convivial tea breaks, and thirsty shoppers. The market is vast, and you can still escape the tourist zones to discover some authentic nooks and crannies. Surprises await in the low-rent fringes. A commotion of shouting marks the bazaar's poor man's Wall Street. These currency brokers are frantically swapping fortunes of euros, dollars, and Turkish lira for their clients. Others keep their fortunes in gold. The many jewelry shops are a reminder that Turks love gold for more than just its beauty and allure. Traditionally, it's considered a practical and tangible place to store their wealth. And much of that gold may be recycled. Around the corner, surrounding a humble courtyard, sooty smiths labor over furnaces. They're melting gold trimmings from nearby jewelers' workshops back into a pure and more usable form. For over 20 years, I've been visiting Ayhan. His skillful techniques have changed little through the generations as he works his trade.
Gold.
And with that gold, you can buy a fine Turkish carpet. Shops can come with a vast inventory, offering a warp and weft fantasy of options. Enjoy a colorful demonstration.
Here I have 4 amazing art pieces that they are totally different categories. It's like a mother language. Each region of Turkey, we have different style.
But be attracted not by aggressive sales pitches, but by merchants who celebrate this rich artistic heritage.
So the other name of those silk collection rugs are flying Turkish rug.
Lale, I think Turkey has, within the Grand Bazaar, you could spend a week in there and not see every shop, and it can be a little overwhelming. And I wonder, how do you recommend to travelers to kind of prioritize their time when they're shopping? And also, it's a very different environment than a lot of Westerners are used to shopping in. So I sometimes hear from travelers that are wondering, like, are they supposed to kind of like bargain for prices with the vendors, or is it a place where you just kind of pay the price that you're presented?
As a matter of fact, Gabe, in Turkey, we don't bargain. When we shop, we like you do in America, you check the price tag, take the item to the cashier, and you pay for it. But in the old town, this fad of bargaining still is going on,
Hmm.
and it's sort of a game. The vendor asks for a price, you make a counter offer, and the vendor makes another offer, and then you meet in the middle. But my advice to the shoppers would be if it's, as I said, it's like a game. And my advice to the shoppers is that if they cannot judge the quality and the value of the item that they are trying to buy, don't even get into the game. The house always wins. And there are more than 4,000 shops in the Grand Bazaar, several tens of thousands in the old town. I recommend that they go with suggestions made by reliable travelers who experienced more than once, not count on one single evaluation or review that people see online.
And I know that the Istanbul guidebook that you and Rick have worked on was hugely helpful to me as I navigated the bazaar, not even from a purchasing point of view, but just it's truly like a maze in there. And following the guidebook to some of the secret corners of it is very satisfying. I got to meet that metal worker, Ayhan, that Rick visited with, and it's a shop I never would have found if you gave me a year.
The old town and the market area is so big, and there are thousands of shops. Of course, we just list a tiny fraction of it. Our list does not mean that it's the one and only. It's just to give travelers some point to start from, a reference point.
There's certainly a lot to be explored and discovered, and we have many more Turkish delights to discover now.
With the fall of Christian Byzantium and the rise of the Muslim Ottomans, grand mosques shaped the city's skyline. And Suleymaniye is the finest in town. This soothing, restrained yet magnificent house of worship was built by the great 16th century architect Sinan for his Sultan Suleiman. Although less colorful and less glamorous than some of Istanbul's other mosques, this mosque is bigger, older, and considered the masterpiece of Ottoman architecture. The tranquil interior is decorated in pastel hues and stained glass. Its vast expanse, with no interior support, was a marvel in its day. And visiting Turks make a point to visit the elaborate tomb of the Sultan Suleiman, whose nickname was the Magnificent.
Lale, when people are traveling in Istanbul, are non-Muslims welcome to go into these mosques? And
Everybody is welcome.
what sort of etiquette should people observe?
Everybody is welcome in a mosque. And everybody parks their shoes outside before going into a mosque. So that's one of the etiquettes, that you'll be walking in barefoot or with your socks. And it's expected that the women cover their hair. And as long as you observe these two acts, you are welcome in any mosque at any time. But in Old Town, to give the worshippers a peaceful moment, they will not allow visitors during a set prayer time. It's only because of the crowds going there, no other reason.
Yeah, so definitely when I was there, I used my guidebook to figure out when the mosques were going to be open to visitors and when they weren't. But I always found it to be, in such a busy, bustling city, it's amazing how calm and quiet it is in those mosques.
The Muslim faith is as varied as the Christian faith. Some groups are more orthodox and conservative, and others more progressive, like this congregation of mystic Sufi dervishes, which welcomes women to take leadership roles. While some worship in grand mosques, others gather in a more intimate space like this, where musicians set the mood. The leader guides the congregation in prayer, And slowly the dervishes blossom into a state where they're ready to whirl. Dervishes are like monks, inspired by the mystic 13th century poet Mevlana, also known as Rumi. Not all dervishes whirl, but all whirlers are dervishes. With one foot planted in their community, their family, and the other foot dancing around and around, celebrating the diversity of God's great creation, they whirl themselves into a meditative trance. In this mesmerizing form of prayer, the dervish contemplates how everything in the universe whirls, from the smallest particles to the earth and beyond. By whirling, the dervish goes with the cosmic flow. Mevlana's teaching is all about love and finding that elusive oneness. With one hand symbolically reaching up to their heavenly creator, and the other like a fountain showering that love on all of creation, the dervish meditates on how they can be a conduit of God's love.
Lale, when I was visiting in Turkey, I feel like I sometimes saw dervishes in promotional materials and advertising. And I remember being at a beautiful rooftop restaurant, but there was somebody that came out and whirled around on a little stage, kind of as like a dinner side performance. And in a way that didn't feel like it was a worship service to me. So how can travelers find a way to experience the whirling dervishes in a way that is respectful and authentic and supportive of the dervishes?
Well, a good question. First of all, being a dervish is not a job, it's not an occupation. A real dervish would not perform whirling as a show so that people can watch it. This is worship. People would do it with their congregation and every member of the congregation participating in a way or two, maybe playing music, maybe reciting verses, maybe whirling, but not an audience to watch it. And so therefore, when you say respect, they do not need anybody's respect, to put it lightly, and they do not need anybody's donation as well. And what you see on the streets of the old town or in the city are basically shows to answer the interest of the traveler about what it looks like when somebody reels. And if the visitors are interested about it, there are a couple of places in the old town where they perform a shortened version of the few-hour ritual that they can go and watch. And I believe they do it daily, every evening. But if they are into the real thing, it would require 3 to 4 hours, including a commute, to go out and visit with one of the actual congregations, like this congregation that we visited with Rick when we were filming the Foundation of Universal Lovers of Mevlana.
Wow, 3 to 4 hours.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. That's why there are shows, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, so you have an idea and see how they reel.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. And I know that we do have a lot of information on that in the guidebook for those that are interested in learning more.
To get a fuller appreciation for Istanbul, it's important to leave the old town and explore the lively, more modern neighborhoods. For the visitor, Istanbul's central tram line laces together the most interesting sightseeing areas. While often packed, it zips directly through the middle of town fast, unaffected by the frequent traffic jams. My friend and co-author of our Istanbul guidebook, Lale Surmen Aran, is...
Lale, it's you.
Yes.
It always makes me so excited to see you pop up in one of our TV shows. And I know you've told me before, but I always forget. How did you first become connected with Rick, and how is it that you've appeared now in
Wow.
several of his TV shows?
Yes, it was several years ago. And just you have one word, you use one word in English to describe it. You say kismet.
Kismet.
Yes, kismet, because in 1996, with my husband, we were visiting our friends in Seattle, and another friend who was a travel pro who traveled with my husband in the past, she told us that she set up an appointment with us with a man called Rick Steves.
Hmm.
And we said, "Oh, well, yes, we really appreciate your effort." We told her that, but it's snowing, there's a snowstorm, we're in Seattle. You're suggesting us to go to Edmonds to visit with him. We said, we think we'll pass." And then our friends that we were visiting with said that, "Well, the lines are down, there's nothing to do, we'll drive you." Might be interesting. So that's how we drove up north to Edmonds and met Rick. And the rest is history.
I love that. All thanks to a snowstorm.
Yes.
We have a lot of snowstorms on the East Coast now. So if you're joining us from the East Coast, I hope that your winter weather leads to some lovely kismet.
Yes, exactly. It was lovely for us. Yes.
Well, I'm so glad that now, 30 years later, 2026, we have you in our TV show. So we're going to learn from you both in the video and in person now.
Is joining us as we ride over the Galata Bridge. Rather than fighting traffic, Lale knows to stick with the tram as we head into the new town, and the place where everyone seems to be heading, Taksim Square, Istanbul's contemporary heart. Taksim Square is a major transportation hub and gives us a good taste of modern Istanbul. The traffic circles a statue that celebrates the father of modern Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. If Turkey is Western-looking today, you can thank this man. In the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire was in a state of decline. Its nickname, the sick man of Europe. Following Germany in World War I and therefore losing, the decrepit old empire was swept away. And from its remnants arose the modern Republic of Turkey, founded in 1923 by Ataturk. The monument shows the two sides of Ataturk, the military hero of the War of Independence, and civilian Ataturk, the first president of modern Turkey, surrounded by figures representing the proclamation of the Republic.
So, Lale, I know that Rick asked you to film a video for him recently, and we're going to play that in just a moment, but I was wondering if you could kind of give a quick context for what video we're going to show people.
What we need as human beings is actually very basic, Gabe. And Atatürk, while he established the Republic with the building the institution, building the constitution of our country, emphasized that basic need that we are humans and we need peace. And that's it. And that's the message from Atatürk that I love to share.
So yeah, Rick was collecting some videos, kind of with some of our European guides offering perspectives at a bit of a tense time in the United States. And so, Lale, we are going to share the video that you submitted right now.
Hello, I am Lale. I'm a tour guide in Turkey. Our nation's founding father, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, was a soldier who survived brutal wars. From that experience, he learned something hard-earned. A country must first be at peace with itself, with fair laws and social balance. Only then it can act wisely in the world. A calmer world, in turn, protects progress at home and allows a nation to be a force for stability. His words are carved into our public spaces, so we do not forget them. Tranquility at home, peace in the world.
Well, Lale, thank you so much for filming that short but beautiful video. And I hope for the United States, for Turkey, and for all countries, peace at home so that we can have peace in the world.
Exactly.
Now we're going to continue on with our sampling of some Turkish delights.
Nearby, a colorful trolley travels the length of the city's main shopping boulevard, Istiklal Caddesi, or Independent Street. Offering a parade of local culture, it was born after a devastating fire in 1870. The Ottoman government took the opportunity to rebuild the area as a showpiece of the European style. The message? Look west. The fine old architecture is a reminder that this street was home to the city's Europe-oriented elite back in the 19th century. Even today, Istanbul's churches and foreign consulates are in this district. It's just teeming with people. I love to lose myself in this river of humanity.
Lale, in the same way that I feel like the Grand Bazaar is kind of the sensory overload shopping experience of the old town, I feel like Istiklal Caddesi is the sensory overload of the new town. So I'm going to kind of ask you the same question, which is for people visiting this area, because it is so overwhelming, what are some of your favorite places along Istiklal Street?
Well, it's full of action, Istiklal Street. It's full of action almost around the clock. And I'm most drawn into the art galleries, the boutique bookstores, and the little coffee shops tucked in the tiny alleys behind the main streets. That's what I like.
That was my favorite too, is all the little alleys. And I would love to just, especially on a hot day, go in the alleys in the shade and just have a Turkish tea.
Yes, that's what I also recommend. And I also recommend visitors that it's so, as you said, it's a sensory overload. I recommend them to read about the Istiklal Street and make a mental map of what they're most interested. Otherwise, it is so easy to miss the details.
And again, I will just plug once more because I genuinely used them so much in Istanbul, but the self-guided walking tours in our guidebook are such a great way to be in because Istanbul is so lively. It's a nice way to have something that just guides you through at your own pace and points out all of these details of some of the buildings that I would have never noticed because there's so much happening. So I know you contribute to those as well. So thank you, Lale.
Pleasure.
And it's lined with shopping temptations. This fine shop sells silk scarves, made in Turkey, of course.
Designs with the tulips. Tulip is the Turkish flower.
That's great. This pattern is so beautiful. Turks know how to spiff up their look with a scarf, around the neck or as a head covering. And if you want to go to the mosque, which scarf would you wear and how would you wear it?
If I want to ask, I wear the long one, like this. It's enough for me, like this.
So you say enough for you. Every woman will choose how much modesty.
Of course. If she is religious, also she can wear like this in square one, for example.
If she's very religious.
Yeah. She can put a pin here, then she do it like this.
Okay.
She can put it here.
So this is an accessory to cover the hair.
Yes.
Yeah. So true to the culture and easy to pack. A silk scarf makes a nice souvenir.
Lale, I thought that the kind of conversation of these silk scarves and how they intersect with religion was very interesting. I know the vendor said like, oh, if she's religious, and I know there's so much religious diversity in Istanbul. How would you describe kind of the religious diversity of the city?
It is a lot. As in Christianity, there are many subdivisions within Islam too. But I suppose you're asking this question about how much would be practicing and how much would not be. Is it your question?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not possible to know because in Turkey there is no system of being a member of a mosque.
Really?
Yes, the worship is on individual basis. People can worship wherever they want in a church, in a mosque, or at home, or at work. So you would not have a statistics, a good statistics of who prays and who do not. Making a wild guess, I would say about half the people would be observing, and the other half, even though they consider themselves Muslim, may not be observing.
So you would never like ask somebody like what mosque they go to?
No, that's not a common question in my country. We don't ask it because we say you never know um, who has the faith or the money. And those are the two things you do not question.
Interesting. Yeah, because I know in at least where I grew up in the US, you could ask somebody where they go to church in the same way that you ask them like what school they go to. So
Yes,
I guess it's a good etiquette thing to know when visiting
exactly,
Turkey
exactly.
that maybe that's not a good question to ask.
Well, if people open up to you, welcome the knowledge,
Mhm.
but questioning it is not considered polite.
Good. All right. Well, let's continue our journey down Istiklal Street.
And the street offers an enticing parade of taste treats. Doner means revolving, and you know why when tempted by a doner kebab. You can try the sesame rings called simit, along with your tiny Turkish vocabulary. Bir simit lütfen. One ring, please.
I'm going to pause again, Lale, because I just have to say how much I loved learning a little bit of the Turkish language when I was there. I was very relieved that it uses the same basic Latin alphabet that English and a lot of the European languages that I know also use. And I found the pronunciation very easy. And I'm just curious, what would be kind of your encouragements to travelers of what would be some good phrases for them to learn before they visit?
If they learn to say only three things, they will be a happy traveler in Turkey. One is thank you, that is teşekkür ederim.
I remember that one being the hardest. Teşekkür
Teşekkür
ederim.
ederim. The other one is please, which is lütfen.
Lütfen.
And the third one that you do not read in any guidebook, and I don't know why, I think it's the most beautiful, is kolay gelsin.
Kolay gelsin.
Gelsin. Yes, it's not translatable into English. It's one of those gems that has a load of meaning and beautiful. Saying kolay gelsin, you basically tell the person that you are acknowledging the effort they're putting into as they work. You're appreciating their labor and wishing their work be easier for them. You can say kolay gelsin to a farmer, you can say it to a surgeon, you can say it to a cashier, you can say it to a TV host. So kolay gelsin, Gabe.
Kolay gelsin to you for guiding us.
Teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkür ederim. I love that. Kolay gelsin. I almost want to use that just in my daily life here in Seattle.
We use it a lot.
You know, here at the Rick Steves office, one thing I love is that we use a lot of European phrases just for pleasantries, saying hi, goodbye. Oftentimes when I leave, I'll use like the German juice. So I think that's a new one that I'll use around the office is when I see a colleague, I leave a meeting, I'll say kolay gelsin.
And if travelers use this, like look at this lady selling the rings. You just buy a ring from her and end your transaction by saying kolay gelsin. You'll give the world to her.
I love that. Thank you for teaching us that.
My pleasure.
And for a fast meal with no language barrier, ever-present cafeteria-style restaurants offer a can of fresh and traditional Turkish food. You'll choose from a range of classic Turkish dishes. I'm having cabbage rolls, lamb chops, and potatoes. And something I always look forward to, my go-to yogurt drink here in Turkey, ayran, and my favorite dessert, rice pudding, or sütlaç. But on this street, rice pudding is just the first of many sweet temptations. Popping into this baklava bakery, it's hard to resist such a festival of honey-soaked delights.
Oh, hey, look at this.
Generations of local chocolate salesmen have worked this little station, peddling a variety of Turkish treats.
There's a lot of different flavors.
Yes, with hazelnuts and pistachios and dark chocolate and milk chocolate.
Today, Ali loves to give samples.
Okay, this is the pistachio we're tasting now.
This is this one.
Yes.
What do you like best? Everything's good.
So, Lale, I had such a distinct pleasure when I visited Istanbul a year and a half ago, which is that I got to do an Istanbul food tour led by none other than Lale Surmen Aran. Why is it that you enjoy leading food tours around the city?
Because food is never about eating. Food is never about produce. Food is about the culture. Food tells you more about the people you're getting to know. Food tells you more about the land, the history of the land, the climate of the land. So it's just, you think it's just one bite, but that one bite is load of meaning. And that's what I love to unlock.
Well, I was taking some videos while I was on the tour, and I wanted to just give people a peek at what it's like to be on a tour with Lale and see you explaining and introducing a meaningful bite to our group.
Rest the sharp end on your fingers. Break it from the pointed end. Watch me do it first. Watch. Break it from the pointed end, and it splits into two. Rest it on your. Okay, good. Then you use the empty shell as a spoon to scoop it out. You scoop it out, but don't eat yet. So I have a shell full of here. Then you get the lemon. You put a few drops of lemon to it. There you are. I can get the seed out. Now eat it.
Wonderful.
I love that, Lale. I probably should have had you set up what I was going to show you eating. So can you tell our viewers what that was that we were sampling?
It was a stuffed mussel. And the story of stuffed mussels goes back like 2,000 years ago, almost. Yes, it's a recipe from the Byzantine Empire.
Oh, wow.
And its same recipe lasted so many hundreds of years. And today it's one of the typical foods of Istanbul's Black Sea cuisine.
And I remember that we finished that tour at another restaurant that specialized in really ancient recipes. Am I right?
Yes. Mesopotamian food. When you look at the map, you see that northern Mesopotamia is today southeast Turkey. And they have got very delicious food there. Food is not only culture bound, but it's also geography bound. People are creative with what they have in hand. So the southeast part of our country has a very distinct cuisine, a Mesopotamian cuisine. So when I take people on foodie tours, I try to take them outside the cliche of baklava and kebab because there's so much more to food they can taste and learn about the culture through food.
And also, those who have watched Monday Night Travel for a while know that I'm a vegetarian. So I didn't have the stuffed mussels, but I was so pleased when I was in Turkey that there was such good vegetarian cuisine, very easy to find. So.
Yes, tip of Fertile Crescent is also southeast Turkey.
Mhm.
We grow a great variety of fruits and vegetables.
Well, you also continue to spoil me because you brought me a little treat today. In this, Lale packaged this all up nicely for me. And Lale, what is in my little mystery package?
It's a pistazan.
Pistazan?
Yes, it is a pistazan.
What is... They look like green Tootsie Rolls.
Yes, these are the pistachio cousins of marzipan. They are made with delicious pistachios raised in the edge of the Fertile Crescent. Just 3 ingredients: sugar, water, and crushed pistachios. That's it.
Well, it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to have somebody lock these away so I don't eat them all at once.
Oh, eat them while they're fresh.
Okay.
Because these are handmade, no preservatives.
Mmm.
Doesn't have a very long shelf life.
Pistazan. Well, thank you very much, Lale. A extremely good Turkish delight. And we have more of them coming up now, so let's get back to the episode.
And to really earn your dessert, try getting some ice cream from this guy.
Yes.
He's from Kahramanmaraş, a town in southeast Turkey. famous for its toffee-like ice cream. While delicious, it doesn't come easy for anyone.
Whoa! Boy, 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 boy,
I want chocolate!
Thank you. Oh. That's nice. Thank you.
Every day, over 1 million people in Istanbul commute between Asia and Europe. Some take the 5-minute subway ride through the underwater tunnel, while others catch a ferry for a more scenic intercontinental commute. An array of ferries cross the Bosphorus every few minutes and cost less than $1. And a memorable way for a tourist to experience this city's urban energy is to join the locals for a 20-minute cruise to Asian Istanbul.
Lale, do you find that the European and Asian sides of the city, does it feel like there's a meaningful cultural divide between them? Is there a big difference in the food or the types of experiences or how people behave?
No, not at all. There's not a cultural divide, but a geographical divide. And the divider is the Bosphorus. But life on the Asian side of the city is a little slower, not slow, a little slower compared to the European part of the city.
Wonderful. And it's, I guess it's not the side that has like the major sites. So at least for tourists, it would be a little more getting into the local life.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, let's sample some of that local life on the Asian side now.
The city of Üsküdar on the Asian side is now a suburb of Istanbul. While bustling and modern today, it also has a traditional religious feel. In the Ottoman era, it was the gathering and departure place for pilgrims and caravans heading to Mecca. Taking a stroll along its waterfront promenade or through its family-friendly parks, you'll notice a more conservative lifestyle.
Oh, fresh fish.
The marketplace offers a cultural scavenger hunt and plenty of ways to nibble on even more of Turkey's endless array of taste treats.
Oh, dates. I love dates. How do you say date in Turkish?
Hurma.
Hurma.
In Ramadan, it's traditional we break the fast with a hurma. Try it.
So this is how we break fast.
Yes.
Happy breakfast. Oh, yeah. And there's a beautiful variety. So these are grape leaves.
Yes, they are grape leaves, and we use these for rolled grape leaves.
So you buy a whole bundle.
They will sell by the weight.
What would you put inside?
Mainly rice, onion, and seasonings, sometimes with meat too.
Beautiful. Look at that. Nice. Yeah?
Rick, this is phyllo. We use this to make börek. It's pastry. We make it both savory and sweet. These ones I'm buying, I'm going to use with cheese and parsley, and it will be a savory pastry.
Can I come over?
You're welcome.
It looks so good.
That's the delicacy. The best fish of Istanbul, turbo.
Turbo.
Yes, it's the finest fish of Bosphorus. And these are horse mackerel and anchovy, the cheapest protein you can buy.
There. My
Yes.
goodness, they're beautiful. Oh, I love olives. Look at so many different varieties.
Different regions, different kinds, and different cures.
Ah.
Why don't you try one?
Yeah. And where is this from? Or
South Turkey, Antioch.
Oh.
Naturally grown.
it's great to have a selection, you know? And what is this?
This is from the Sea of Marmara, Edremit.
The Sea of Marmara. Oh, that's really good. Let's get a mix. A little of that, a little of that in a little bag.
Minnacık bir pakete biraz bundan biraz ondan alabilir miyiz?
Back on the waterfront, I enjoy the view from Asia across the Bosphorus back to Europe, marveling at this extraordinary city. Istanbul. It's fast-changing, yet strangely timeless. Truly one of Europe's great cities. And for me, it never gets old. Soaring domes, spinning carpets, whirling prayers, churning harbor. It's an endless promenade that broadens my perspective. The city's both rooted in tradition and modern facing as it navigates the challenges of today. The richness of Istanbul's culture, diversity, and heritage is seen in the faces of its people. This is today's Turkey, a melting pot of ethnic groups: Turk, Kurd, Armenian, Jew, Gypsy, Georgian, Greek, and more. And styles, from the very traditional to the very latest. The city remains a crossroads of humanity. And according to the Turkish proverb, every guest is a gift from God. Istanbul bridges east and west. With a complex weave of modern affluence, Western secularism, and traditional Muslim faith, it's a dynamic city filled with delights. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rick Steves. Until next time, keep on traveling.
As I said, Turkish delights that engaged every sense throughout the past 45 minutes. But of course, there are many more Turkish delights than we could fit into the episode. So before we get to our Q&A session, the first question I want to ask you is, what are some of the additional delights that make you love living in this city? Maybe things that Rick didn't have time to get to in the episode.
Istanbul, by all means, is a true metropolitan city. What I love about the city is the diversity it provides, not only historical diversity, but also diversity in arts, culture, stage performances, art shows, concerts, opera. There is something for everybody in Istanbul. When I'm not touring, I have a habit of going to one stage performance, one a week. So it might be an opera, it might be a ballet, it might be symphony or philharmony, or it can be a jazz concert. It's Istanbul boasts with them, and that's what I recommend our travelers, is that just spend some time to take a look at what's available in the city during their visit. They might be surprised that it can be a show, a Broadway show maybe. It can be a traditional folk dance show, something surprising, but it's there, and it's affordable because some of it is state subsidized. It comes at very, very affordable rates.
Well, I know that you provided a couple links for people that would be interested in trying to see a show when they're in the city. So those are in the chat widget and will be emailed out tomorrow. Now, we have many good questions, Lale. Before we get to them, we always have a word from our sponsor. And again, for the word from our sponsor, I will just repeat that this show was part of season 13 of Rick Steves Europe. It's one of about a dozen episodes. So if you haven't already watched them, you can find a link to that in the chat widget. And as a thank you to everybody that worked on the season and brought us this great travel content, I'm going to quickly play the 20-ish seconds of closing credits along with some bloopers from Rick, and then we'll get to our Q&A.
Perhaps the most historic and certainly the most populous city we've ever filmed in. And certainly the most populous city we've ever filmed in. But certainly the most populous city we've ever filmed in. Istanbul. Thanks for joining us.
No. That's good ice cream.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for that watch along. And thank you, Lale, for adding so much to that viewing experience. I wish I could have you next to me when I watch every Turkey episode. Um, we have some great questions. And the first one that I want to ask, Emily's been collecting these and sending these to me. And Julia had a question about something that I know is another delight for many people in Istanbul, which is the cats of Istanbul. Can you just explain to our viewers who haven't been to Istanbul in what way the cats are a part of the city?
As a local in Istanbul, I never noticed that having cats is unusual because it's part of our lives. And when I first started traveling with Americans, they were surprised at seeing cats, and I was surprised at them why they were surprised at seeing cats. It's just like you see seagulls in Seattle, it's norm to see cats in Istanbul. We love them. They are just lovely, and
And they don't have owners?
no, they're stray cats. But they don't have to have owners. We give them food, we give them water. When it's very cold, there are municipal announcements saying that it's cold, it's snowy, put out some food for the cats. Or when it's a very hot time during the summer, make sure you put out some water for the cats, for the birds, so they can keep surviving. So we care for them. They're part of us.
I'm actually allergic to cats, so I was a little worried when I went to Istanbul. I'm like, am I gonna have to be worried about these cats? But they were all very respectful. Also, I don't know if you've seen it, Lale, but there's an amazing documentary film that was made about the cats of Istanbul called Kedi. Is it
Kedi.
Kedi? If anybody wants to watch it, it kind of follows the lives of 5 or 6 real cats in Istanbul, and it definitely gives you a different perspective on the city. You kind of see it through the cat's eyes. Lale, another question that we have comes from Ruth Ann. So Ruth Ann is saying that she visited Turkey back in 2002. And at the time, she felt like she kind of should dress a little more conservatively just when she's out and about, and is wondering, like, today in 2026, you gave us some guidelines for, if you're going to be in a mosque, have your head covered. But for women who are traveling outside of the mosques in Turkey, are there any considerations that women should take with how they dress?
Not really, and I am surprised at Ruth Ann's comment, as a matter of fact.
I don't know to be fair, I don't know if she said that she felt she like got a vibe that she was supposed to, or if she did that proactively because of maybe kind of her preconceptions.
I don't know, but what I can say is that, of course, like it is in every country and every city, there are parts of the countries and cities that are more available for wearing tank tops or shorts, or in a metropolitan city, such as it is in Washington, D.C., it's not as appropriate. So I wouldn't say it's about religion, but it's about the cultural life that goes on in the city's dynamics.
Mhm.
So, other than visiting a mosque, I really do not have a warning to the visitors about a dress code.
Yeah, I mean, truly, when I was on Istiklal Street, if you just dropped me there and didn't tell me where I was, like it felt like men and women were dressed pretty much how I see them in Europe, in the United States. And I think I even mentioned to you that I had noticed in the old town, I did see some women that were more covered up. And you even said they are probably tourists
Yeah.
too. Because as Rick said, many tourists come from Muslim countries to Istanbul as well. So thank you for that detail. Another question that we have comes from Deborah. She's wondering if you can comment on, how the Hagia Sophia is now, it used to be a museum, it's now a mosque again, and in many mosques you're not supposed to have, depictions of people. But she was saying that were some Byzantine mosaics. Are those still available to view?
Yes.
And maybe a comment more broadly on what a visit to Hagia Sophia is like today.
Hagia Sophia today is both a working mosque and a working museum. The lower part, the lower level, entry level of the Hagia Sophia is reserved for Muslim worshippers, while the galleries where the mosaics are is the museum. So both exist side by side or up and down.
Mhm. Yeah, and I did see that there was in the upper level, I think I did see some mosaics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Hagia Sophia never has overall mosaics.
mhm.
So whatever was there is still is there and is visible to the visitors.
Um, Another, if I may, Lale, I actually have a delight that I would like to share
Go on.
because generally I am a very frugal traveler, very budget traveler. I stayed in some actually excellent hostels when I was in Istanbul, but I did one big splurge, and it is maybe my favorite travel splurge I've ever made, which is that I went to. Tell me if I'm saying it correctly. It's the Hürrem Sultan Hammam.
Yeah, yes, you're saying it correctly. Hürrem Sultan Hammam.
Can you tell our viewers what the Hürrem Sultan Hammam is?
Yes, it's a Turkish bath that sits between Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque at the heart of the old town. It is a 16th century Turkish bath built by architect Sinan, our version of Raphael and Leonardo da Vinci combined, for the wife of Suleiman the Magnificent, Hürrem Sultan. It is a beautiful piece of architecture, and it's a functioning bath. And if you want to experience a Turkish bath, you can go and experience it at the Hürrem Sultan Hammam.
It really was. I mean, I think I spent about $200 for about an hour and a half treatment, which really isn't that much more than I'd spend for just a regular massage here in Seattle. But it was amazing being in this room with this vaulted marble ceiling with like shafts of light coming in, and they bring you in, and the first thing you do is they give you a gold dish, and you're next to kind of this golden tap, and you just fill it up with warm water and like pour it over yourself. Like I felt like I was one of the gods up in the heavens. It really was amazing. The Sultan. Um, and kind of a follow-up question is, I know that there's a wide variety of experiences with going to Turkish baths. And I know that it's a thing that local people do to go to the baths. How would a traveler maybe, if they didn't want to spend that amount and splurge, even though I think it's worth it if you can, how would they maybe go to one of the more local baths?
First of all, again, I'm going to refer to our guidebook because what we listed in the guidebook was listed based on the question you just asked. We listed ones you can have a splurge and the ones that come at a more budget price where you can still experience it. But if you're asking about the locals, well, such as you do not have an attendant while you are showering, we do not get an attendant help us while we go to a Turkish bath. So the least expensive one would be going to a no frills Turkish bath where the Turks go, but there nobody would help you. You have to know the ritual by heart. What to do, when to do, how to do.
I like my fancy experience where I got my nice attendant that showed me through it.
I recommend travelers to go to a bath where they're accustomed of having foreign visitors.
Lale, we have time for one more question. The episode that we just watched was titled Istanbul Turkish Delights. I'm wondering, though, for travelers that would want to experience more of Turkey beyond Istanbul, what would you say are a few other of your all-time favorite cultural delights that can be found in other parts of Turkey?
Cappadocia.
Yeah?
Yes.
What do you love about Cappadocia?
Cappadocia. It's out of this world. The landscape is out of this world. It's a volcanic region. It's a high desert, and there are very interesting formations, land formations caused by erosion, wind and water erosion. And it's not only the geography that makes it mesmerizing, but also the history of it. Has a very old history, goes back to several thousand years ago, and Hittites, to name one, called it home once upon a time, and it was an important shelter for the early Christians during the Roman times, where they could get away and take shelter and be safe. So it just is a place that mixes both beautiful landscape, beautiful geography, and an amazing history.
And if people want to learn more about that, the last time that you joined us on Monday Night Travel, we did a watch along to the Central Turkey episode. So that is linked in the resource links as well if you want to learn more about Cappadocia. But for now, Lale, I am so glad to have you next to me. And thank you so much for taking time out of what I know is already a busy week to be with us and to bring me some pistapan.
Afiyet olsun.
Thank you all for joining us, and we hope that we'll see you next week when we go to Cornwall with our guide, Helen Catchell.
Gabe, where can I find the subscribe button for the Rick Steves Travel Talks YouTube channel?
According to the map, the subscribe button should be over there, and you can click it to be notified of more great travel videos.
Oh, I see it.
And if you look over this way, you'll find a link to register for upcoming Monday Night Travel shows.
It's so beautiful. Oh, Gabe, you have a little pretzel in your teeth. We hope you'll join us again soon.